Who is the richest person who ever lived? Is it Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, or someone else? This question has sparked curiosity and debate throughout the ages. The answer, however, might surprise you. It's neither a tech mogul nor a business tycoon of our modern era. Let's embark on a journey back in time to a period when wealth was measured not just in gold and silver, but in land, power, and influence. We're venturing into the heart of Africa, to the ancient empire of Mali, where a man named Mansa Musa once reigned. Before we delve into his story though, let's take a moment to discuss the concept of wealth. Throughout history, the notion of wealth has evolved, shaped by societal changes and economic developments. In ancient times, wealth was often synonymous with land ownership, livestock, and precious metals. As civilizations progressed, so did the markers of wealth, expanding to include things like trade goods, currency, and in today's digital age, even data. Now imagine a time when one man held sway over a vast empire, teeming with resources and riches, a man whose wealth was so immense it was described as indescribable and incomprehensible. This wasn't just a king but a Mansa, a ruler who wielded such power and wealth that it eclipsed the fortunes of even the most affluent figures in modern history. This man was Mansa Musa. But who exactly was Mansa Musa? Why is he considered a contender for the title of the richest person in history? And how did he come to amass such remarkable wealth? Well, the answers to these questions are shrouded in the mists of history, a tantalizing blend of fact, myth, and legend. The tale of Mansa Musa is a fascinating one, filled with gold, glory, and a grand pilgrimage that left an indelible mark on the world. Could the richest person in history be someone you've never heard of? Stay tuned to find out. Enter Mansa Musa, the 14th century African emperor who is thought to be the richest person in history. Born into the royal family of Mali, a kingdom blessed with a bounty of natural resources including gold and salt, Mansa Musa ascended to the throne in the early part of the century. His reign over the Mali Empire was a golden age, quite literally, as it was during this time that the kingdom expanded, reaching its zenith in terms of territorial expanse and wealth. Mansa Musa was a skilled military strategist, successfully defending his empire from invaders while also expanding its boundaries through conquest. Under his rule, the Mali Empire stretched across modern-day Mali, Senegal, the Gambia, and Guinea. And within these territories, the gold mines of Bambouk and Bura were controlled, boosting the empire's wealth exponentially. But it was not just the acquisition of gold that contributed to Mansa Musa's incredible wealth. The emperor was also a shrewd trader, capitalizing on the Saharan trade routes that crisscrossed his empire, trading gold and salt for luxury goods from other regions. Mansa Musa was also known for his fair and just rule. His wealth was not hoarded away in royal coffers, but rather it was put to use in the development of his empire. He invested in infrastructure, commissioned grand architectural projects, and promoted education and Islamic scholarship, attracting scholars and artists from across the Muslim world. But perhaps the most profound testament to Mansa Musa's wealth was his famous pilgrimage to Mecca. The tales of his journey, with his entourage of thousands and his lavish spending, are legendary, causing a stir in the regions he passed through and leaving an indelible mark on the annals of history. Now you might be wondering, just how rich was Mansa Musa? Mansa Musa's wealth was simply indescribable and incomprehensible. How does one even begin to measure the wealth of a man whose fortune was so vast it defies comprehension? Mansa Musa, the 14th century ruler of the Mali Empire, is believed to have amassed a fortune exceeding $400 billion. This astonishing figure is an estimation from the US celebrity net worth, and it places him firmly at the top of the list of the wealthiest individuals in history. So, where did this astronomical wealth come from? The Mali Empire, under Mansa Musa's reign, was a land of abundant natural resources, the most significant of which were gold and salt. Gold in particular was plentiful. The empire's vast gold mines in areas like Bur and Bambouk produced half of the world's supply. This gold didn't just line Mansa Musa's pockets, it underpinned the entire economy of his empire. Salt, another crucial resource, was as valuable as gold in some regions due to its role in food preservation and health. The empire's salt mines in Tagaza were so abundant that they often traded salt for its weight in gold. Mansa Musa was not just a hoarder of wealth. He was a generous and devout ruler who used his riches in ways that would leave lasting marks on history. He built mosques and libraries, funded education, and supported the arts. His most famous act of spending was perhaps during his pilgrimage to Mecca, where he dispersed gold so freely that it caused a decade-long inflation in the regions he passed. He also invested heavily in his empire's infrastructure, strengthening its trade routes and expanding its cities. His capital, Timbuktu, became a thriving cultural and academic center, attracting scholars from across the Islamic world. But how can we truly understand the scale of Mansa Musa's wealth? It's a challenge to say the least. His wealth was not just about the gold or the salt, but about the prosperity and cultural richness it brought to his empire. And that, perhaps, is the true measure of his incomprehensible wealth. The sheer magnitude of Mansa Musa's wealth had a profound impact, not just on his empire, but on the world. Let's start with his famed pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324. Mansa Musa's journey wasn't just a religious obligation. It was a grand display of his staggering wealth. He took a procession of 60,000 men, each carrying gold bars and dressed in Persian silk. He gave away so much gold in Cairo that he caused a currency crisis, significantly devaluing the metal for the next decade. But his impact wasn't just economic. He was a man of wisdom and vision, who understood the power of knowledge. He brought back scholars, architects, and teachers from his pilgrimage, and invested heavily in education and culture. He commissioned the construction of libraries, universities, and mosques, the most famous of which is the Sankore University in Timbuktu, a beacon of knowledge that attracted scholars from all across Africa and the Middle East. His investments in education led to a golden age of learning and culture in Mali, turning Timbuktu into a hub of Islamic scholarship. This helped spread Islamic and African influence across the Mediterranean into Europe and beyond. Mansa Musa's wealth, therefore, not only shaped his empire, but it also left a lasting impression on the world, culturally, educationally, and economically. However, it's important to note that his wealth also had some negative effects. The economic crisis he caused in Egypt is a prime example. His extravagant display of wealth and generosity disrupted the local economy to such an extent that it took years to recover. This shows that while Mansa Musa's wealth brought prosperity to his empire, it also had the potential to cause economic instability. This brings us to a tantalizing question. So, is Mansa Musa the richest man who ever lived? Well, given his incomprehensible wealth and its wide-reaching impact, it's quite possible. But like many historical mysteries, the true extent of Mansa Musa's fortune may forever remain a tantalizing enigma. Mansa Musa's wealth and reign left a lasting legacy. This isn't simply a statement of historical fact, but a testament to the enduring influence of a man whose wealth was beyond comprehension. Mansa Musa's impact is perhaps most evident in the rich cultural and educational legacy he left behind. His passion for learning and culture led to the establishment of numerous schools and libraries across his empire, cultivating an environment of intellectual growth and development. His capital, Timbuktu, became a beacon of knowledge, attracting scholars from far and wide. This city was home to the Sankore University, one of the leading learning centers of the medieval world. But Mansa Musa's legacy didn't stop at education. His reign also led to significant economic advancements. The extensive trade networks he established fostered economic development, with gold and salt serving as the lifeblood of these networks. His pilgrimage to Mecca not only displayed his immense wealth but also strengthened diplomatic ties, opening avenues for further trade and cultural exchange. The legacy of Mansa Musa still resonates today, influencing perceptions of African history and wealth. His story challenges stereotypes, showcasing a period of African history steeped in prosperity and intellectualism. It serves as a reminder of the continent's rich historical tapestry, far removed from the narratives of poverty and underdevelopment often associated with it. Mansa Musa's wealth also continues to captivate imaginations, sparking debates about the true extent of his fortune. His wealth, described as indescribable and incomprehensible, has become a symbol of African opulence, adding a layer of intrigue to the already fascinating narrative of his life and reign. Mansa Musa's wealth may be indescribable and incomprehensible, but its impact is undeniable. He may very well be the richest person who ever lived. His legacy, like his wealth, remains imprinted in the sands of time, continuing to shape our understanding of history and the world's perceptions of African wealth and potential.